Hello everybody, and welcome again to another video. Today I'm going to walk through my Emacs configuration. We've been doing a lot of live coding sessions and summary sessions for the last couple of weeks. And I've been using Emacs, and I've been using a lot of key bindings and configuration that is specific to me. Some of you will benefit from knowing more about this. So I figured I would make a video instead of having to explain every time I use it. So let's get started. As you can see, I have my Emacs all ready to go. Excuse me. All the information that I give you, everything that I build, you can always find it on buildfunthings.com. It's my website. It has lots of interesting information about the projects that we're doing. But for now, let's talk about Emacs. Emacs 25.1 is out. Rejoice! It brings a lot of speed, a lot of beautiful things with it. I've been using Emacs, I have to say, for the last 16 years, I think. So it's part of my habit, right? There's a lot of new editors coming around. People like those. There's actually an article this morning on Reddit called Emacs is hurting Clojure, and it talks about the learning curve for Emacs. Yes, it has a learning curve. Is it easy to learn? No, it's like most things. Stuff is not easy to master. It's easy to get started though. You just boot it up, you load your project, and you can start typing, but mastering it takes a lot of effort, as does anything else really. Currently there's the Atom editor, which I think comes closest to the experience that you can have from an Emacs point of view. There's the proto-REPL package, which is the basic Clojure editor functionality. So if you're just looking for a quick editor to learn where you can have some advanced features, check it out. I tried it. It didn't suit me very well, but if Emacs doesn't work out for you, give it a try. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to look at several packages for Emacs. The cider package being the most pervasive, really. Cider is the Clojure editing IDE package. It's made by a very funny, very cool guy called Batsov. I cannot pronounce your name. When I see you, I will buy you a beer, because it's awesome. We will talk about Clojure refactoring and some color theming. But so let's first take a look at my Emacs configuration. I will show you the. I got a tip from I think Martin Klaus. He said, "Well, why don't you show your key bindings in a command log?" So I installed the package. And it's right here. So whenever I do something, I'm now opening my loader config. It should command log mode enabled. Very good. So when I do, it will show you the key binding and what command it binds to. All the configuration, everything I have, everything I do is on GitLab. You can find it gitlab.com/buildfunthings/emacsconfig. It's also a reference from my website, of course. So that's, well, you can find everything. I use a literate programming style, which means that documentation and code is mixed. For this, I use a package called org, which is a text outline editor, and obtangle, which is an extension to org, which allows you to tangle both text and code. And then from there, I load the current file using org babel load file. It's called loader.org. and it looks like this. The rest of this init.el is stuff that is added due to just running Emacs. There's this new package selected packages, which needs a place to rest, but it's not very handy because it kind of litters the file. So when you look at my Emacs configuration, it looks like this. It's an outline. It has an introduction, a secure Emacs configuration, use package, some stuff for moving around, discoverability, the environment, look and feel, project mappings, stuff that I use for writing, programming, blogging, and experiments. I think the most important thing to get started with, let's close some of these. And I will make the screen a little bit bigger. There we go. The most important thing, I think, for now, when Emacs comes, it is not very secure. This means that when you start install a package, download a package, it will do this over unencrypted communication channels, which is kind of odd because we're in a process of creating secure software, making the world better for everybody, and then we roll out our editor with a basically flawed configuration. So there's a great article called "Your Editor is Malware," which when I first read it was like, all right, I didn't think about it that way. But the threats in the outside world are real. So for this very nice article, you should definitely read it. I will link it in the video. So what did I do? Well, first of all, using Python, we install a package called certify, and basically we tell Emacs to check the trust of any channel. So using TLS, we use the GNU TLS CLI library to check the certificates. And if there's an error, we will crap out. So that doesn't seem like a lot of configuration, but what it does, it basically says my Emacs will only talk to other servers over a secure channel, which is very, very important. There's one package that we need to install, which is becoming part of Emacs itself. John Weekly posted that a package will become part of Emacs itself, so we don't need to actually install it ourselves. Actually use package. Emacs has a package manager, which by default runs over insecure channels, so we need to configure it. We need to tell it to require the package, and then I configure three sources. First is the GNU packages library, which has all the stable, all the approved packages, and then there's Melpa, which is a very, very good archive run by some very cool dudes that are very susceptible to new packages and allow you to do anything. If you have a package, it's very easy to get submitted to it. As you can see, there's currently 3,341 packages and almost 31 million downloads to date, which is very good. So from the website, you can even do a search. You can see that my color theme that I created and that I use, it has been downloaded almost 1,800 times. Good on you guys. I hope you like it. Yeah, mostly you don't use the interface, you just use the package libraries. There's two. There's the melpa.org/packages, which is just day-to-day daily builds. You can get stuff as they are, as it is being built, as it is being pulled from the source control itself. So if somebody checks something in, it will be in Melpa, which is also very inconvenient at times, because when cider changes. There's a lot of activity. You don't want to have every single change pulled to your system. I like to have my cider environment be stable, because else it's like an adrenaline rush every time you open cider. Will it work? Will it not? So there's also melpa stable, which has the actually rounded versions of packages. So I use those. Then I clean out all the current archives, and then I say, well, just add melpa stable, melpa, and GNU. And from there, we will initialize the packages and refresh the contents if it's not there yet. Important here is that I say that we have a emacsd alpa directory, and we will have some archives there. So they're known locations, and if they're not there, we will refresh. And then all that's left to do is to have something that can that will install a package. And I used to have a very long list, and then I learned use package, and that's ended up being the only package that I install using just the package install, and the rest I delegate to use package, and we will get to it in a little bit. So from here I only use the basic infrastructure for use package, and then everything else I try to install using the package facilities that come with use package. If you just download the file, you put it in your Emacs, it will go and retrieve everything that is required. So it's plug and play, you drop it in, and you have beautiful packages. So let's change up a little bit. There's a lot of interesting parts here. One thing that I highly recommend is the change the S node to Y and N. I have a bookmark package which I'm not very certain about yet. Sometimes it works nicely, sometimes I forget about it, so it's not really in my system. And then I use counsel and swiper, which is a package by Abu Abu, Ivy, Avi. They're packages to enhance the completion, reading, and functionalities of Emacs. And you've seen these in my screencasts many times already. When I do a Ctrl S for search, you see swiper here below. Let's say I'm looking for something called Ivy. I will see all the entries that are relevant for Ivy, where they are. I can jump to a line, then I can search again and restart my, revisit my search. So I want to search for Ivy, and I can continue where I left off. So press Ctrl S, type something Ivy, jump around, and actually Ctrl C, Ctrl R. I will restart the last search, or if I'm just in a search, I can just press Ctrl R and look at previous searches I've done. Very useful package. I think it's a very good enhancement of Emacs. You need to wrap your head around it a little bit, but it's very good. So what I did, meta X is changed to the counsel meta X, which means that the execution of a command is already enhanced here. So it says that the caret says it's a regular expression that says start here. So I can do show log. Okay, I cannot find it, and so my command should not start with show. If I remove it and I do show log, it will well, there's one function called font show log. It is very very powerful, and allows you to actually really quickly search for commands that you have used previously. Very useful, very good tool. you need to wrap your head around it if you're very used to the way Emacs works by default. So I just turned it on and I tried it for a couple of days and I'm very happy with it. There's actually some interesting parts here as well. We can use a hydra. If you don't know what hydras are, they're like pop-up windows that can provide an explanation. So if I do Ctrl S and Ctrl O, it will tell me how hydra, how the counsel part, the IV part, works, what I can call, how I can navigate, the J, the K, the HL, follow, the go, insert. There's many options here. It's very useful. Another thing that I use, which I highly recommend for anybody, is WhichKey. So imagine that you're thinking, oh, I need a key binding. I want to call a method. It's somewhere Ctrl X, and then a WhichKey pops up a buffer, which tells you exactly what key bindings are available after you've pressed Ctrl X, and you can even on the mouse over see the documentation for it. So there's Ctrl X, Ctrl B would be list buffers. So Ctrl B, and then you have a list of the buffers that are there. Very useful, highly recommended. There's a lot of environment specific things that are very not useful to discuss right now. Changing the way the frame looks from the default. I don't like the toolbars, I don't like the menu bars. So I just want to have a place where I can type. Spelling stuff. Ace window, which is quite nice. Ctrl C, P. There's actually no windows to change, so let's add some windows. And Ctrl C, P, and will allow you to jump across the frame to any window that you want. So let's say we want to go to this bottom area, Ctrl C, P, and it showed buffer 3, and I'm jumping right there, which is quite nice. Very useful. And there's also the Ace jump mode. I don't use it very often. Ctrl C space, I bound it to, but org already overrides the Ctrl C space. If we look at here, the space org table blank field. So we can look at it later, but basically it allows you to jump places based on words or anything. Maggot, a package that I use a lot, and if you use Git, the version control system, Maggot is like is a graphical interface from within Emacs over Git. It allows you to just do anything you do with Git through Emacs. So for instance, if we do Ctrl C M, and we see the untracked files, the unstaged changes, we can do diffs that say, well, I obviously made some changes because I found some duplicate areas. So we can actually say stage these changes and these changes. We can do selective commits. There's question mark, does all the help functionality. So there's things like cherry picking, pooling, logging, tagging, rebasing, you name it, and Maggot can do it. It is a poster child for good interfaces, I think. It's very intuitive, it works really well. But let's get to some of the fun parts with closure, right? Because that's why we're here. Let's close this. We had Maggot. Well, I use my own team, of course. I have a live coding session. Live coding, I should actually implement that. I didn't think about it, sorry about that. It increases the font, which makes it very much better to read. So from now it's much better to read. There's some icon part. If you have a default Emacs installation from version 25, it does a lot of visual bell stuff. It makes a lot of noise. When you're at the end of the document, end of the line, it will give this beep going. I really did not like it. So there's a ring bell function, and I added my bell function as a implementation, and my implementation does nothing. So no visible bell, no sound, and it's a lot better, right? So let's jump to the project mappings. One thing that people see me do is that I jump from project to project with some keystrokes like this, Ctrl-X-P-T, and now I'm in my trivia game, and my screen has become really big. Let's make it a little bit cleaner. Yeah, there we go. So it jumped around and the frame resized. So now you see that I'm in my trivia game. I currently have 3 workspaces. They're called perspectives. And I can jump back to my project, my Emacs file right here. It allows you to group files. It allows you to easily jump to projects and get into a known state. So I created one for a custom perspective called trivia. I find a file called project CLJ, and I bind it to Ctrl-X-P-T, and it allows me to just jump around and have a good grouping. The programming part, probably this video is already taking quite some time. Let's see how long we've been at it. 22 minutes already, man. So there's a lot of functionality. Some of the greatest things are very small packages. The paredit for list-based editing is insanely useful. There's an animated guide to it, and it basically tells you how all the parts work. Basically, it's an AST-based editor. So it means that if I do a opening parenthesis, it will include a closing parenthesis and will not allow you to delete those parentheses unless the expression is empty. So if we look at my computer is going through the roof, it's very busy. Is it enabled already? There we go. No. I need to, let's start our beautiful REPL. And we're back. Computer is still blowing up, but that's so fine. So we have now, let's add the show open command log buffer. So if we open up, excuse me, CG, I changed it. Let's open up a file called core.clj. You see counsel git being used here. It allows you to open up files from a Git repository. So within init, let's add some let a becomes print a. What we can do now is say I have a let, and I want to change around the inclusion of regular of expressions. If I want to delete this expression, I can do Ctrl-K, and it will clean out the current expression but leave intact the parentheses, the forms. It's beautiful. You cannot just delete a parenthesis, you can close it, or if you're in a different form, you can just use a closing form, like a parenthesis, bracket, and we'll just go over the form itself. So it has parent close round, parent close square, and it will make sure that your form is intact, which is really nice. Well, code folding is very nice. It works. I need to enable it. I showed minor mode. You can just wrap code up like a normal code fold. It's very easy to jump around. You can selectively fold your code or unfold it, toggle it. It's very good to get an overview of the code. It does not enable, I'm not very comfortable with it yet. I started using it quite recently. Another way to jump around in your code is to use the interactive item. Say counsel menu, I want to jump to something called go, and there you go. If we would use our bookmarks that we described earlier, I can just toggle it and say I want to have multiple. You see that's not very nicely formatted yet, so you see that it's very new. And Ctrl+C brackets, I can just jump around. It's very useful if you're editing some code in that buffer and you need to jump around to places. Instead of scrolling around, you can just use a bookmark and deal with it. Time management is not very useful. Lisp editing, paredit we talked about. Highlight parentheses. If you notice, if I do yeah, well, there you go. It highlights it. It's beautiful, very useful, and the rainbow delimiters is probably one of the best features I like when you are in a form, and the parentheses for each form will have a slightly different color. So if we go to web server, which has more code into it, and we put into it, you see that the further away you become from the form, the darker the color becomes, and that way you have a good sense of where you are in your forms. And you can also use paredit's functionality to move around forms, which is quite nice. Go forward. You can jump if you see it. If you go to data and we are on the curly brace, do forward. We do a forward. We jump to the end of the curly brace, so we jump over the entire form, which is really good movement. What else do we have? Snippets. Yeah, snippet. It is wonderful. Yeah, snippet allows you to say def. And there's a form or defen tab, and it will give you the function form already. So very good editing skills, productivity to the max, I would say. Auto-completion, you've seen it used many times. Ctrl+C / is what I use. It's the pinky basically. So in a as def Ctrl+C / and it will pop up a screen already with a list of the functions, maybe having is there macros, variables, so very good useful functionality right there. Version control we talked about, and closure, and the cider part is it is awesome. It is very good. One thing that you might know, when we start trivia, we start a closure script shell and suddenly Figwheel starts just running. That's due to the cider closure lane REPL variable, which will actually call the Figwheel sidecar start Figwheel and start a closure script REPL. There's some bindings here that I added, which I'm not very happy about right now, but because they're bound, I have to define, for instance here, the namespace that I want to call reset on. So I have my brain game, and then when I want to use it in trivia, it's not very portable yet. But cider and cljr-refactor, those are the bombs. So let's go in here. Cljr-refactor has many. Where are you? Cljr-refactor has many available refactorings. Many programming languages, IDEs can learn something from it. You think about it, and it is in here. I actually found something new here: update project dependencies, which will actually update the project dependencies. So if we do Ctrl+C, enter up, and then we can just change closure versions and stuff like that. So it will go through the entire library and change stuff. So if we go to clor, let's say we want to add a logging library, you can do something, Ctrl+C, enter AP. Let's look for timber. Let's see, would it be, which one would it be? Timber itself? No, not that one. AP, probably timber for tau and so on. .com/timber. We no, messed up. What did we include? Yeah, it's not very good. Now we messed up our namespacing, so that's not very good. But normally you can just do Ctrl+C, AR, to include of anything it's environ, and there will be expansion, code completion, environ, and we call it environ. And it's already included. Seriously. There we go. It's very good environment. It's very smart, but there's many forms that you can use in the cljr-refactor, and documentation has the illustrated guide to it. Very good. Let's see, what else shall we walk through? I had a list. Switch to the main. Cider, hydras. Hydras we talked about. Cider config closure. Yeah, you should look at all the possibilities. The add stubs are inline add stubs, right? Add stubs. I use those for component lifecycle, and like here, add stubs, it will add the stop and the start function. Very good, very solid package. And that's about it for the Hydra package for closure cider is actually not part of Melpa, so you need to download it. Instructions are on my in my file, but the cider Hydra, let's see, access. Let's go to trivia. The Hydra, if we jump to it, we have an illustrated guide that we can, or a annotated guide. So let's say namespace related. We can add imports, add require macro, missing lab spec, add a use, stop referring, clean namespace. Let's clean it. And it did not do anything, but it actually it cleans up a little bit. Very useful for other things, I guess. If you have component libraries that you no longer use, or you've sorted everything strangely. So yeah, there's a lot of functionality here. There's a lot of things that you can do. Yeah, look at the documentation. If you're new to it, look at paredit, look at cider, look at cljr-refactor, and that will tell you anything you want about these packages, and it will give you a good guide to how you can use Emacs for closure editing. Same goes for ClojureScript, of course. It's beautiful. You should use it. We've been at it for 40 minutes already. Damn it. That's a lot of time. So give it a go. Look at it. If you like it, click the subscribe button here. Like the video. And leave any comments if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.